Yes, I feel like Polymarket is really pushing this industry into mass adoption because very beginning people don't know this concept, right? So what's a prediction market? You can trade on probability of events, like what's going on, like that's something magic, right? I'm probably one out of 20 or 30 know about this concept during that time last year around November. So it's this thing actually is really far away previously from normal people. And even for crypto people, they don't know about prediction market like 5 or 6 months ago.
This content is brought to you by BitGo, which is one of the top crypto custodians in the crypto industry. BitGo works with many big companies and brands, such as Pantera Capital, Bitstamp, and Bitcoin IRA. Nike also selected BitGo to power its wallets for its NFTs. And BitGo has many great services, such as hot wallets, custodial wallets, self-managed cold wallets, and NFT wallets. Many institutions trust BitGo with its top-level security and incredible services, such as being able to deploy your capital while it's in custody, which includes lending, borrowing, trading, staking, DeFi access, and more. If you'd like to learn more about BitGo, please visit bitgo.com, link in the description. Welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast. I'm your host, Tony Edward, and with me is Rein Wu, who's the CEO of PredX and Aimelia. Rein, it is great to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And it's great to take this interview today. And I want to introduce more about what we do.
Absolutely. Rein, you and I have met in person, and you're doing some great things building out PredX and Aimelia. And I think it's important for folks to learn about it, given that you're leveraging AI and blockchain and crypto. So I think the convergence of those things are pretty significant, and we're seeing some big movements around it. But before we get to all that, tell us about yourself. Where are you from, and what's your professional background?
Of course, you got to share. So for me, I previously originally from China. So I grew up in Beijing, the capital of China. So around 2013, I come to US to study as a computer science PhD student. So what I did during the PhD time is unconstrained face recognition. So I built some pipelines for recognizing faces and facial landmarks in the unconstrained scenarios. So which is actually been largely you can think about adopted later on in the academia. So what we do during that time is basically using deep learning algorithms to find some of the facial locations and basically using deep learning to recognize who you are and in some challenging scenarios. So during that time, actually, I was thinking about is there a way that we can build up something really not only for institution, but for every people, right? Like consumer AI, that's finally come true. So that is always my dream to build out something around this consumer AI industry. And then after 5 years, I graduated from University of Houston with the best PhD student of the computer science that year. And then I joined Visa as a researcher. So in Visa, I mainly do is fraud detection, anti-money laundering, and then a lot of things regarding to the transaction risk management. Yeah, so during that time also I have a kind of new ideas regarding is there probably a way of doing this kind of AI evaluation more efficiently. So as we know, like in Visa or any kind of like a big firm, if you do machine learning, right, there's a lot of things you need to evaluating them day and night. So that is actually occupied most of my job. So is there probably a better ways we are thinking? So trying to democratize this evaluation and more people get in touch with evaluations. So that is something like what I'm sort of. Yeah, so I was in Visa for 4 years, since 2019 to the early of 2023. And then I quit Visa and started my company. Yeah, that is my background.
And what was your first encounter with Bitcoin or crypto, and when did it click for you?
Yeah, so very beginning, I think I heard Bitcoin in around 2011 or 2012. Actually, very early. So during that time, actually, some of my roommates told me, okay, so this is a new coin called Bitcoin. This is actually put on the equation algorithm instead of like the real coin. Yeah, so why not take a look? So during that time, I was like actually get a little bit interested in what really happened. But the thing is that like during that time, I remember it's really, really hard to get one. So unless you mine it by yourself or you actually buy from some of the exchanges, but I was in China during that time, it's really hard to get one. So I was not like aware of what happening of this field until I think it's 2018, 19. So some of my friends actually get rich by buying the Bitcoins. So that is actually my second time actually take a close look. But actually, I was actually until 2020 or 2021. That is the DeFi summer and NFT trend, actually the hype of NFT. That is actually the exact time I start to buying some tokens. So I could say like not that early, but I think until I really noticed that this kind of technique can do something beyond like transfer the money, it can really incentivize people to really put their own money into this to actually as a asset allocation or just for speculation. That the time actually I really into the game. Yeah, so basically I fall into everything, but kind of like I get into the game a little bit like in the third or fourth wave of the crypto. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if you can tell us a bit about your thoughts on China and their approach to crypto. They had banned it and they unbanned it. It's been kind of flip-floppy, right? But Hong Kong earlier this year opened up retail trading to crypto. They launched Bitcoin and Ether ETFs. So it seems China is starting to embrace crypto more, right? They put out I think, a paper about Web3, Shanghai, and all that. What are your thoughts on China's approach?
Interesting question. So I think the China actually always wanting to like testing something first. And that is the actually what previously will be doing in the country. So I've been in US for 10 years, but I think that like to gradually get into something, there's nothing wrong with that. So basically, Hong Kong is actually you can think like an intersection between the China and also the world. So they're basically trying to testing from the hub from the intersection. I think probably is a good way to start the business, but I think it's really hard to tell like what is actually going on if we actually completely adoption the crypto because like there's always a double source like a benefits and the cons, right? So until then like we are very good at to control some bad effects. So for government perspectives, right, I feel that like US, right? So they they need to be a little bit cautious about what's going on. I think the crypto is really a decentralized forces of, I mean, I could feel like doing some revolution or somehow, revolute something like not working. So until they have a very strong will of really revolute something not working, I mean, the crypto probably is not there in the big country, but for a small and medium country, probably this is the weapon for them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are waiting to see when China may open up, trading to the rest of the mainland China. That I think that would be very bullish to the market, but who knows when they're going to do that.
Yeah, hard to tell.
Yeah. Okay. Tell us about Aimelia, the platform, and PredX. What are you trying to build here, and what problem does this solve?
Yeah, so Aimelia actually is a decentralized AI evaluation protocol.
Mm.
So our dream is that we basically let normal people to find problems in the AI engine so that we can recommend them the best AI agent that we have to the right person. So like there are so many AI agents out there, and there are so many people can train different AI agents. But right now, there's not a curation platform or like Yelp for AI. So we are trying to build up this kind of Yelp for AI that we let normal people to evaluate these things more efficiently. But the problem is that Yelp actually they already can evaluate something already out there. But for AI, the problem need to come up with normal people from the daily works, like who will be present, something I care, right? Like what the stock look like, whether the stars can be like the Hollywood, basically win the Oscar prize or something like that. So they basically need to come up with the problems from the normal people side so that the consumer AIs can really solve the problems that they promise to be. So we want the AI media to be be a platform that holding up different problems that generated by the decentralized human being crowdsourcing it, so that like we have a problem marketplace instead of like the model marketplace for AI models, evaluating them comprehensively. So that is the dream of Aimelia. And PredX actually is an application generated from the Aimelia. So PredX having an application Aimelia infrastructure. So application perspectives, that is really people facing. So we give them a future-oriented prediction market. What is future-oriented? Firstly, all the problems come up with human normal people, not actually from a centralized committee, so that every people can engage into the prediction market. Secondly, we actually give them the capability of AI automatic trading or automatic news aggregation. So basically in PredX, you can exploring in the future all these news regarding an event so that you can trade the event more efficiently. This is actually the future dream. Why? Because we are become a news aggregation engines with the technique powered by the AI media. And third is the most important thing is that we are going to share significant of our revenue to people who come up with the best problems for the prediction market. So in that sense, actually, people will try their best to actually think something like very interesting, disputing, and probably will get more kind of volumes by just telling their friends or like other people who may be interested in that. And that will become a hub for other AI agents to evaluating them on this question that most people are well adopted for. So that is actually, I think PredX will come up with all these questions that normal people to trade, and incentivize people to contribute in terms of the great questions, but for AI media to finally evaluating the AI agent on these questions. So that is actually the reason why we want to build this. So, and for deeper perspectives, right, why we want to have this architecture is because I really noticed that there's a lot of speculators in the Web3 industry. So, but there are real forces that driving the industry into the future. Yeah. So how we can utilizing these driving forces or the motivations more efficiently for something good. So that is the problem I think we want to solve. Yeah, I think many of the Web3 plus AI companies, they want to divide these two forces. They want to developers, they only focus on AI development, and they launch a token. A token is really for the speculators. They separate them very kind of like, widely. But what we want to do is that we want to integrate them. So in the prediction market context, right, we think that probably is one of the best use cases that we can integrate these two forces. As normal people, even though speculating on this event, but they contribute the data. They're looking for what they're speculating in terms of actually what happened in history, what the news look like. And then we can, using the large language model capability, to help them to better make the decisions, help them generate better events. So that is how the AI can more deeply integrate with the speculators so that the money can also be distributed to the people who actually develop the best AI models. So that is the flow we want to build and want to really close the loop of the speculator and the AI developers. Yeah, that's why we need to have this kind of like setup.
And which blockchains are you currently operating on? Is the Aimelia platform its own proprietary blockchain, or is it built on a specific blockchain?
Yeah, so we are right now built on Base, mainly based on Base, but we also working on with others blockchains, for example, say which origin come from, and also like a linear mental, recently Barra ZK link. So the general idea is that I want to go a multi-chain so that we become the best AI power prediction market in area of the blockchains. Because we feel that prediction market is necessary, but it's not there yet for many of the blockchain. We know Polymarket is the best one there. Actually, in the Polygon, for the others blockchain, we really don't think there's a lot of like people working on prediction market. So we feel we have AI capability, we have the prediction market, the great UI, the great Telegram bots. So we really want to like bring out this capability to each of the blockchains.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then there's a PRDX token, if I'm not mistaken, for the PredX application.
Yes, so we are going to launching a single token with PredX and Aimelia. Right now, we are thinking about on the Aimelia end, we are trying to launch our infrastructure token. Yeah, even through the scores, people right now, their earning is called PredX, but we're trying to have one single token system. Yeah.
Mm. And then, with regards to the predictions market and placing bets and so forth, um, who can participate? Can US residents participate on this?
Oh, right now, we actually really obey the law of SFTC, so that we are open to the non-US residents, unfortunately, and basically, and also not mainland China. But you can actually try to go, out of the country or like some way to actually get into the game. Yeah, we pretty much learn from what Polymarket did. Yeah.
Oh, sure. And I guess what type of predictions are you seeing? Is it like presidential election predictions, different types of markets and things happening? What are some of the, things that are popping up that people are interested in?
Yeah. So in our platform, I think people are interested in three different type of events. Firstly, about celebrities. Yeah, celebrity is basically famous people, right? Whatever celebrity, like Trump is one of the celebrities, Elon is one, and and also the Hollywood stars. Yeah. So that we call celebrities. Second, we think it's meme coins or any coins relevant to the crypto in general, right? So because the price is actually something people really care about. And right now, actually, in the traditional crypto trading, right, so like the price is really actually volatile. It's actually not like saying that, okay, the BTC will about 70K or below 50K. So this kind of like a judgment based, kind of like corresponding to a concept that human really want to bet on. It's very, very interesting, and we feel like draw a lot of people attention. Yeah, this kind of like a threshold of the price. Yeah, that is something we have. And the third one we feel that is very interesting is somehow relevant to to the sports. So the sports is actually one of the
Oh,
things
yeah.
that they will become very popular. Like Olympics, we have the Aero Championship, and later on we may have others like also e-games, right? Like for example, Dota. This kind of like electric, competition, basically electric games. So all these kind of things like might draw people attention. So all these kind of competitions, we feel like people really want to express our opinions on. So that is the three topics we feel very interesting, and that they have like a bigger trading volumes.
Mm. And, do you have plans for expansion? Who are you looking to partner with different companies and so forth?
Yes, we are actually, firstly, we are thinking about partnership with the big layer one or layer twos. So we try to become like somehow like a DEX. DEX is like necessary in each of the kind of like big layer one, layer two. And then we feel that like catching up the attention of people is also become very, very interesting and critical thing for each of the blockchain. So
Nice.
we feel prediction market is a good way to catch up people's attention. Yeah, so that is why we want to have this for each of the blockchains. So collaborating with layer one, layer two is our one of the top priority. And second, we feel like there will be somehow like the AI or sentiment analysis company who want to evaluating their AI agents, or they have the capability of holding their agents, but for other people to running their own agents on them, right? So that is something because we want to build up this AI army for solving our people's problem, and then we can evaluating them and basically recommend the right AI agent to the right people. So the AI decentralized AI company is of course someone we want to partnership with, and then we can evaluating them or they can provide us some of the services. Yeah, that is second big part of like AI companies we partnership with. And the third one we think like very interesting will be the Oracle. Yeah, so basically I just have a conversation with the Chainlink labs and also like other oracles is that we need to have the very good data sources and people can really find the source of truth, right? And that is something we want to have. Right now, our system is driven by voting mechanism. So basically, if people don't agree with something, they can dispute our platforms, and basically we give them this like 1 or 2 days disputing period. If everyone not agree with what's selected by the creators, we'll basically revert back the whole process. right? So, but we feel that like that may still not the final kind of solution. So I think if there's someone can contribute the data in terms of like what is the objective, I mean, results of the event, that'd be even better. Yeah.
Mm. Now, I think you mentioned it earlier, but your platform is decentralized, right? Or is it centralized, or are you working towards getting more decentralized?
Yeah, so I think right now it's a hybrid. We learn a lot from the DYDX infra. So basically, we have a on-chain custodian. So all this user money is basically fully transparent on-chain. Yeah, so people can see where the money is in the smart contract. So that brings out some transparency and safety. But we also think that in terms of the efficiency, for example, the order book system, we bring it off-chain. So basically, we will have a fully kind of control in terms of which, I mean, like order can be matched with another one so that we can boosting the efficiency. Yeah, so that is actually on chain because like for this kind of technique, we feel like it's good to protecting users from like potential attacks. Yeah, this is a little bit fragile and some of the like smart contract is a little bit hard to fully audited. So that's why we actually want to protecting this part and keep it ourselves. Yeah, but we are trying towards a solution that's fully on chain. Yeah, if all the technique we already have and resolved. Yeah.
So, question for you, regarding security, because you mentioned the funds will be in a smart contract on chain, people can view that. Um, what security levels do you have there to avoid any type of exploits on that?
Yeah, so we have audited by like Verilog and also another famous security company. So their idea is that one thing is keep the smart contract simple. Yeah,
Mm.
so don't have too much kind of like a floating component.
Oh.
Very clearly written, and so that like things is actually really kind of can be seen by people, and that should be that. So it's like the first thing. Second thing is that like we should put a lot of very, I mean, critical operations off chain and even this basically disconnect from the internet. It's actually our internal kind of like a servers. We have like some of the computations and you're really limited about all this kind of ports that open to the internet so that we can protecting a lot of like something, I mean, some weird applications from access to our system. Yeah.
Mm. And have you done any fundraising? Are you currently looking to raise additional funds?
Yeah, so we have raised the pre-seed, 500,000. We raised the seed, some portion has been committed. So almost 1 million has been invested by multiple like pre-seed and CVCs. We are raising 1.4 million at around 30 million valuation. Yeah, so that is still ongoing. So if there's any investors, please contact us. Yeah, so Dan is also helping us. Yes, he's a PRO. So very good guy. Yeah. So we're working together on this.
Um, I think so. This kind of answers itself this question because obviously you're building a solution, but do you see the predictions market growing significantly as crypto is a way for people to trade 24/7, and people are getting more speculative because everything's on the internet now. Do you see this market growing significantly, kind of like how the presidential election Polymarket, I think it is, right? People are tracking that, who's going to be president and so forth.
Yes, I feel like Polymarket is really pushing this industry into mass adoption because like very beginning people don't know this concept, right? So what's a prediction market? You can trade on probability of events, like what's going on, like that's something magic, right? So I think I did some of the like research or like just asking different people in US or New York City, right? Like 1 out of 5 or 2 out of 5 people heard of this kind of concept. Yeah, but in other wilder world, for example, I've gone to Pennsylvania, like Philadelphia, or like attend some of the events in Ukraine, right? So I'm probably 1 out of 20 or 30 know about this concept during that time last year around November. So it's this thing actually is really far away previously from normal people. And even for crypto people, they don't know about prediction market like
Mm.
5 or 6 months ago. But Polymarket actually, thanks for their getting some investment and also being basically praised a lot by Vitalik. So people know this kind of product concept. Yeah. So, but there's a lot of things to do beyond Polymarket. Firstly, you see the geologic location of people who are adopting this concept of like a prediction market, right? Only US, I mean, people are trading, I could say, like mostly on Polymarkets. All the other parts, actually, there's no Polymarket, no Polymarket in Asia, no Polymarket in Europe, right? So in Polymarket, 95 of the trading volume, I think, is really from the presidential election. Yeah, so
Mhm.
there's a huge amount of topic that like they haven't covered. I think this year, the presidential election, of course, is one of the most important thing we need to focus on. But how about after this year's? I think there should be a lot of decentralized topics, and there's a lot of things that people get interested in. But as long as they're already familiar with this concept, they may come to trade again in Polymarket or any prediction market, like PredX or like others. So we need to prepare for that day, right?
Mm.
So what we have is actually we have a good recommendation system that we can recommend people the right event that may interest in. Yeah, we have two Telegram bots. One Telegram bot is basically like TikTok. You can swipe your phone and simply switch a different event. But we actually will measure how much you stay on each event and see basically whether you're interested in that event, and we'll recommend you more about this event. So that is something like we can solve in the long tail distribution problem. At least we are learning that. Yeah. The second box, yeah, we are doing is actually let people to rating the different event based on how they think the other people will rate on this event. So you can think we are guessing what the other people may pay interest in something. In that way, basically people will give us some of their thoughts and we will see, okay, so other people say this event they are more interested in. So how about like we are improving the rank of this event? Yeah, so that is all these kind of things we have done to like bring this prediction market into mass adoption.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. And you mentioned like Polymarket is only mostly US based, so it gives you an opportunity to grab market share globally because there's elections happening globally in different countries, different sporting events, different things that people may want to do prediction trading on. So certainly the market is ripe for adoption and for penetration into different markets.
Yes, of course. Yeah, we see a lot of opportunities out there in the globally. Yeah.
Awesome. I love it. And with regards to AI, and how you're leveraging that, um, I think you touched a bit on it, but the AI is helping to assist
Yeah.
the traders.
Yeah, the general idea, AI actually really can help us in three different directions, right? The first one, of course, as mentioned, is assisting traders, fully automatic event trading experience, right?
Mm.
So right now we're actually building up the first fully automatic quantitative trading on prediction market. Actually, that actually already connecting PredX, Polymarket, and right now engineering also tell me they connecting with Kalshi. Yeah, so we want to build up this kind of general prediction market automated trading AI bot. So you can think like they will help you gathering knowledge and news from different places, and they can help you make better decision. But internally, I think that really can accelerate AI's capability of processing real world information. Yeah, so because usually the AI is evaluating in a very closed angles, is they are not like evaluating in an open form by every single person. So we feel like this can really help the AI pushing this forward, not only helping the normal people trade better, but help internally the AI engine to processing the real world events better. Yeah, that is AI as players. We also have AI as creators. So the general idea is that how about like generative AI generates a good event or problem that people to trade. Yeah, so that is also relevant to the information or news processing capability, but the AI also need to understand what is the people attention or how to face the question in a good way that draw people's attention. Yeah,
Mm.
so that is the second like AI capability we have. And the third one, of course, is a recommendation system. That is actually has been there for a while, like TikTok is using it. But in terms of even trading, right, that might be slightly different because events they have like a lifetime, right? So they it's a process, right? So there which time you recommend the right person, this person, I mean, more focused on some event going to be end or some new events or something like a bias towards one direction. Right? It's actually a little bit more complicated than a video because video is actually stable, right? Like, but this is a kind of dynamic. How you recommend this event to a right person in a different stage. Yeah, that is somehow more than the problem that TikTok is trying to tackle. But I feel like that's an interesting problem that can really help me user trade better. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's exciting. I see a lot of blockchain and AI merging. They have kind of a symbiotic relationship where blockchain can be used to verify different aspects of AI, like content generated by AI and so forth. And an AI can help enhance blockchain attributes. So they will be working together moving forward. And obviously you're kind of doing that.
Yeah, for the blockchain perspective, because we actually they're also from multiple angles, right? So from incentive layer, of course, like people trying to like speculate a little bit more on tokens as well as somehow relevant to the blockchain, anything relevant to blockchain, that is good to catch people's eyeball. But underlying, very important thing is that the blockchain bring out the transparency. Yeah, so our design is that we'll put all the evidences and infer the chain on the blockchain so that they know how this AI systems, what kind of information they use to draw the final conclusions. So this is kind of reasoning path. That thing should be fully transparent to the user so that they know, okay, does it actually make some bad move, I mean, or make some wrong decision by looking to some like a wrong evidence. So we feel that this kind of part is very good to put on chain, and the AI can also learn from each other, saying, "Oh, you guys make this mistake, or you guys using this evidence. I also need to learn from you so that I can make better move in the next time." So we feel like blockchain is probably one of the best way of holding up this kind of intermediate solutions, both for a verification perspective, but also from like a learning and improving themselves, doing the we call the co-evolution perspectives. Yeah.
Mm. Okay, yeah. Let's talk about the crypto market at large. I would love to get your thoughts on the Bitcoin ETF launches. The Ethereum ETFs launched this morning. Of course, it's a big time for the market as crypto is going more mainstream. What are your thoughts on these ETFs?
Yeah, ETF actually is a very good way for normal people to get into it, especially the people who are actually familiar with the stocks but have no idea what this crypto is. So it gives them a legitimate way of take part in the game. And that can also actually boosting the price of demand of actually the true ETH as well as BTC, right? So I think that is a very good way. And we feel in the upcoming years, probably there will be a little bit more ETFs coming in. For example, I hear the Solana ETF is actually being proposed, and we also have like a multiple kind of like a bucket of investment, which is kind of like you can potentially invest in a bucket of this kind of ETF, right? ETF on top of ETF that may happen later on. So we feel that like there's a lot of like good things coming in, and especially for the institutions, right? For example, like a normal the equity funds, right, or some others like RIAs. So previously, it's really hard for them to allocate their assets or clients' money into this we call alternative assets, right? But right now, it's like everything, the sentiments coming in, and they become like a good asset that everyone want to fight for. You know, Trump and Harris, they also have their own policies regarding this. So we feel like in half year or 1 year, I mean, there's a lot of like institutional money will pour into this because I hear that institutional money it's take them some time, like half year to 1 year to get holder approval, like you know the LPs and also like GPs, and that might be still a little bit like we still need to wait a little bit until the real institutional money get into the market. But I think we see some inflows, so that's a good sign. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Now, on the note of like crypto regulations, you as an entrepreneur, builder, um, and you're based in the US, you're building this great platform and service. but there's not clarity in the United States, right? The SEC can still come after different projects saying, oh, your tokens is security and these type of things. Now, the SEC has been losing in court. Congress is working on some regulations, but it's not law yet. What is your take on all that and how things have been progressing?
Yeah, I think like it's also a good match. So the good thing from institutional perspective, right? I really understand that like they cannot like have always different laws and changing all the days, like because there's still a lot of uncertainty in this field, and they need to be really cautious unless they get enough like people's vote in terms of like consensus, and then they can move forward. But in terms of like a startup, right? Like this kind of speed is really killing the startup. So the general idea is that like people saying that they're asking um for forgiveness, not asking for permission, right? That is most of people thinking like what they do. So I think yeah, for us for an entrepreneur who actually working on this area, we actually need to take some risk in terms of pushing things forward. But I think there are two things that I'm really pay attention. One is what is the red line, what is the gray line, right? So don't touch the red lines. I mean, that is really like forbidden by law. I mean, don't do something wrong. I mean, just seriously, I mean, we need to avoid that. Yeah. Second, is really about the gray line. So gray line is really kind of like somehow like moral, but or somehow you can really look into different cases, right? What is the case like like how you navigate and really trying to protect you from like falling to these cases, falling to that cases. Yeah. So that is something we can do probably the best. But fundamentally, like yeah, we really should probably take some risk in terms of moving forward, but take some wise risk and don't actually, yeah, step on the red lines. That's what I can say. Yeah.
For sure. All right, Rain, I got some wrap-up questions here. First, if you could create your own metaverse, what would the theme be?
Oh, that's very interesting, actually. So actually, I think I'm not sure if you have ever seen a movie that like it's called Castle in the Sky. Actually, from Japanese. The general idea is that like so that is it's a cartoon movie. Yeah, so basically it's describing a future that like in the future all the AI and the nature will actually integrate together, and people are living in a very green world. Like I mean, all the leaves and the plants actually integrated with AI in a very efficient manner. So basically, you're really back in the forest time, but everything is fully automatic. So that is probably something we want. I'm personally want to pursue is the metaverse that I mean kind of like a rare harmony between the human and the nature. Yeah,
Mm.
that is what I'm pursuing. Yeah.
Awesome. And then some rapid fire questions. Favorite food?
Favorite food I think is sushi. Yeah, that is my favorite food.
Favorite musician or band?
I really like the melodic dubstep, this kind of style of music. But for band, I'm still like navigating. But any kind of with good melodic and make me high, that'd be good. Yeah.
Favorite movie?
Favorite movie, I feel that The Matrix is one of the best one I ever saw, and somehow also relevant to the sci-fi. For example, recently, that's also relevant to the books. This called the Three Body. Three Body is actually a sci-fi movie I really like the most. Yeah, that is actually yeah. So a lot of things happening in basically the nature and how people think about the future. Yeah,
And I don't know if this answers the question, but favorite book?
yeah, the same.
Same. Okay, yeah. And when you're not working, what are you doing for fun?
Yeah, I was going to the gym and doing the bodybuilding. Yeah, that is one of the things I really like the most. And second is that sometimes I play the video games. Yeah, but not too much recently. Yeah.
Rain, great stuff, man. I love what you're building and looking forward to the future updates. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate having me.